Who's putting way too many books on her TBR that she will not be able to all finish this month? Me. But part of it is I wanted flexibility, and I'm excited for all of these. And I think also it's kind of like I don't know how many of the challenging books I'm going to read, and I don't know how many of the fun books I'm going to read. And so I kind of did like 5 or 6 of each of those, which is how this list got a little out of hand. But we're going to go into it. August, I don't teach in August. It's a break month. And I'm hoping I'll get a lot of reading time on my patio, on my couch, doing some chores around the house. Like I'm hopeful. But that said, my cousin's in town. I'm sure I'll play video games. I'm sure I'll be prepping for classes before I know it. But I can have hopes. I can have aspirations. And I do think we're going to be doing our week-long readathon like I did in May with my patrons. That's what I did when I had a break back in May. And that was really fun, where it was very low-key. The goal was just, we had daily sprints and to try and read, as much as what your goal was each day. And for me, that's usually like 50 to 100 pages each day. I wanted to actually sit down and read, because I'd been very good about audiobooks, but very bad about reading, sitting down, even if it was with an audiobook or whatever. So I think I'll probably do that again. And who knows, maybe I'll read a bunch in that week. But we'll see. And we're first going to start with some patron-related books, like they were voted for me or they're buddy reads. And then we're going to get into the challenging books. And we're going to get into the fun books. Fun books are primarily for my physical TBR, because I think I've been doing pretty good on that. I mean, obviously we'll check in on my physical TBR eventually. But I think the top shelf that used to have all the books I was working on is getting more empty. I did a good chunk of that in June, if you haven't seen it. July. Oh, what are months? Summer just truly, woof. So, first thing I want to talk about, Seventh Bride by T. Kingfisher. This was voted for me to read in July, but I haven't gotten to it, so I'm having it roll over into August, because I do need palate cleansers. I know T. Kingfisher is a palate cleanser. Kieran has eaten this, much to my chagrin. It's actually quite an impressive puncture. I haven't had cats eat my books in decades. And it's also kind of annoying, because when they eat my books, it's always never the book I don't care about or a book that doesn't matter. For example, I have a copy over here of the original Name of the Wind cover, and it has cat bites on it. And it's not like I need to know this hardcover of Name of the Wind. Other people love that book infinitely more than me, but I don't think I'd get that much money off of it because there's cat bites on it. Anyways, this probably fairy tale retelling, T. Kingfisher, probably a slice of romance and, banter. I'm here for it. Also, something I'm really excited about, but it's long, so this is probably one of the longest books I'm trying to read this month. Oh, a cat bit this too. I missed when a cat bit this one. Holy shit. Kieran, right up here. I don't know when he got to this, because I've not been letting them in this room, because this is where my books are, and my cat's been biting my books. This is perhaps the stars, with its nice little cat bite marks on it. Don't let this deceive you. This is very heavy, actually. It's about 600 pages of very thin paperback. It's about twice as long as any of the other books in the series. And all the books are fairly dense-ish. I wouldn't say they were hard to read, but every word is very intentional. You have to be a little focused. So I'm excited for this. It'll finish off a quartet I'm very much enjoying. Sad for it to be over, but I do want to see we've been building and building and building, and I want to see, how do we finish this thought experiment? Where are we going to land? So I'm excited. Even though Kieran, boy, what are you doing to my books? I love that. I love him, but goodness gracious, biting all my books. And then our buddy read is going to be Lost Places, a short story collection by Sarah Pinsker. If you've never heard of Sarah Pinsker, a novel that she was, it wasn't super popular, but it did okay, was We Are Satellites, which I really liked. It's a contemporary, near future science fiction about implants and things like that. This is, I think, just a bunch of science fiction short stories, and I'm pumped. I read one short story by her that won the Hugo in the Nebula, and it was fun. So that's our buddy read. Now into the stack. The big old stack. So we'll start with the books that are the challenging books. And all of these are the Ursula K. Le Guin books, and I have a video where I go through all of them. So I will be brief here. Link that video below if you want more in-depth thoughts. And I say be brief, but it is me, so who knows? One that I've tentatively started, and I wish the audiobook was more available at libraries, is The Library of Broken Worlds. This is a young adult, but it's a young adult that has a very unique writing style that you wouldn't probably associate with young adult, which is to say I associate young adult with very straightforward prose, And this prose is not difficult, but it's more lyrical and meandering. I think it's kind of like it's hard to get your footing, at least initially. I'm very excited for it. Like, I like the narrative framework that's been set up. I just kind of wish I had access to the audiobook for free. And currently, I do not. But this is the Young Adult Nearest Harlequin Fiction Award, and I would love to give it a shot. Let's see. This one is probably a straight-up literary fiction book, really, with maybe hints of magical realism, and that is The Skin and Its Girl. It's about a Palestinian-American girl kind of digging into her family's past and learning the secrets of her aunt, I believe. Should be good. Yeah, I mean, at least this one, it's not too long, and because I cannot get this audiobook for a really long time. So that's another reason why some of these are challenging, is like they are only eyeball reads. And I have not been amazing at eyeball reading this year. Like, I can do it. But if it's not like a romance book or something really easy, it's kind of been tricky for me to read like denser works that way. So we'll see. And then these three, I'm kind of like holding off reading them to the endish of the month because one of my friends might be able to buddy read some of these with me. So I would love to hold off on some of them, which will work because, again, I'm trying really hard to read challenging book and also have a palette cleanse with it or read a palette cleanse after it to keep momentum going. I'm trying to be strategic here. But, I guess we'll talk about one other one that I'll read. I just haven't picked it up from the library yet, and that is Sift. Again, I don't know what this is about. I keep forgetting to look up the synopsis of this book, but the library told me I can pick it up. So I need to go pick it up. So that's another novella. I know it's short. So, and then in terms of challenging books, we've got The Siege of Burning Grass by Premi Mohammed. Excited to read this with my friend. No audiobook exists for this at all. So pretty challenging. This one doesn't have an audiobook, but it's very short, and that's It Lasts Forever, and then it's over. Pretty sure it's about like death and what it's like to live and observing the living from the perspective of death. Yeah, but it's short. So the fact that even though this is only physical reading, it's got big margins, I think I'll be okay. And then this one does have an audiobook for me to read, and that is Orbital. And I believe this is like near-ish future science fiction. We have people on a space station going around the Earth, and they're kind of musing about their relationship, I think, with Earth and their cultures and each other. It's a space station that's international, so you had a lot of different countries and lived experiences, fairly short. But this one I do have an audiobook for, so it's a little less intimidating for me because I have that to like help push me through. Now, fun books. I have 4 other fun books in addition to the T. Kingfisher that I want to intersperse in here with these other things so I can have fun and not just feel like I'm like trying to accomplish nebulous goals for no reason other than myself. One that I don't have on me, so I'll just say now, is Mirror Dance by Bejeweled. This is my next book in the Verkoskin saga. I kind of wanted to read it in July, but it just didn't happen. So here we are. I'm going to read it hopefully in August. This one's longer, but it shouldn't be harder, I think. And I have the ebook that I actually bought so I can follow along with the audio, since I've been primarily using audio for this series, but sometimes I would like the grounding of the physical pages to go with it. So I have that. Another one I have, and like maybe this one's not quote unquote fun, but like I think it should be easy. I have the audiobook. I am comfortable DNFing it if it doesn't work for me, and that is Tidal Creatures by Seanan McGuire. This is the 3rd book in the Alchemist Journals. I love Middle Game. I'm a broken record about Middle Game. One of my favorite books of all time. Like, if you love ride or die platonic relationships of people falling in and out of each other's lives, Middle Game's gonna work for you. I don't know about the world building or the world, and I think that's where my issue is. It's like these other books, they don't have the same character connection density, and they're relying on the world. And I don't know if the world's strong enough for that. And this one makes me nervous because I do think it's probably more world focused, but I'd like to give it a shot. So I have the audio, I have the ebook, I have the physical. But this one is definitely, if I'm really not going to pick it up, if it's not serving to increase my momentum of reading, I'm DNFing it and the series, and I will just reread Middle Game until the end of time. These other 2 I have been, one's been on my TBR, and it's one that I wanted to read by the end of the year. And I've been reminded of it recently, and that is Bitter Medicine. This is a urban fantasy, kind of contemporary setting. I think sort of fantasy romance, but it might not really like scratch that fantasy romance itch for a lot of people. But I like contemporary fantasy quite a bit. And I like people forming connections and growing them. And I think that's kind of what's going to be happening here. I think it's going to have a really quiet, cozy pacing. I'm hoping it's going to be one of those like kind of slower paced cozy books that I can't put down, which I know feels weird. Like normally people can't put down fast paced things, but for me that can happen with like slow paced things where I'm just like so in it and immersed. So I'm hoping that's what this is. We will see. Time will tell. And then I have The Emperor and the Endless Palace. This is a debut from this year. And this, I think, has some of those tropes of just, like, people finding each other across time and in reincarnations. And I just really like that. It's always been one of my favorite plot devices. If you've never seen the musical Aida starts in modern day in a museum with these two people who, like, they suddenly look at each other and they have this connection. And it's implied that they're the reincarnations of Remy's and Aida. And I love it. And like I just said with Middle Game, I just love when people fall in and out of each other's lives. So I think that's like a main conceit of this book. And I'm incredibly excited about it. So yeah, there's a lot of books. And like, you know, at any point I could just start reading Rhythm of War again. And that would really throw a wrench in everything. And I probably do need to like find time to read Dawn Shard. Although I might, even though, and Roger, don't hate me, I know we're supposed to read Dawn Shard and Oathbringer by our next live. But like, I don't mind being spoiled for Dawn Shard. I've already read it. I think I kind of want to read Dawn Shard after Rhythm of War because it's not as plot connected. Like there's like one tiny little thing. But lore-wise, I want to be fresher on Dawn Shard's lore. Closer to Wind and Truth. In case it's relevant. Because I feel like we all hoped that Rhythm of War would have answers to questions that we got in Dawn Shard. And that is not the case. So that's another one that I probably should like do something with. We shall see. But in general, I'm excited to be reading. I'm excited to read all of these. I know I won't get to all of them. Like, if somehow I did, whoa, baby, a lot of these are hits. Because for my challenging books, the problem is like, I would like really badly to not DNF a lot of them. Mainly because I kind of already know that they're not quite for me, but I want to see why, you know, all those jurists put them on the list. And part of that is kind of wanting to see the whole picture. Like, obviously, if I really can't finish the book, I'll DNF it. But I think part of why it's a challenge for me is, like, I want to finish them. And that's just me. That's just on me, and that's fine. Now, the books that I'm reading just for fun, if they are not fun, then I should stop reading them, right? So that's, like, where I'm trying to put my energy there. What are your reading plans for August? Is August also a good reading month for you? Or is it like kind of the opposite because vacation season's ending, school's starting again, and like everything's chaos? For me, I'm feeling like I get like a little bit of a reprieve and I get to relax and like actually kind of have a summer for like a minute, which is very exciting. But otherwise, if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, I don't know. Stars. Yes. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.